Hi, I'm Karen Glasson. I'm in my 5th year studying architecture here at Tech, so I'll be graduating in a few weeks with a Bachelor of Architecture, and as Mark said, a minor in Leadership and Social Change. So my e-portfolio is really showcasing my experience with my leadership minor and then the other things that I've been involved with that have influenced my perspective on leadership. So my welcome page just gives a brief explanation of sort of what I'm like and what kinds of things I like to do. Next, I have a tab for coursework that covers a brief description and then a reflection of my own experience in each of the leadership courses that I took over the course of the last 5 years. So that kind of covers those things. I've had a great opportunity my 3rd year to take an independent study and then an internship in education, working with the SERVE program that Julia mentioned earlier, so I'll get to that a little bit later on. The key events tab is one that we were called to give an explanation of 3 key events during our college career that influenced our leadership perspective. And I chose, instead of specific events, 3 areas of involvement that I think influenced me. And I found, due to the nature of my major being really time-consuming, it doesn't lend itself to being the leader of a lot of organizations on campus. But I found that through the way that I interacted with others within my major, that I was able to still have a lot of great leadership experiences. One example here is really where I learned about leadership more than I was the leader. Was I have been volunteering since my freshman year with a family, Bob and Emily Stewart. This is them, and Emily passed away recently, but Bob is still local and hanging out at Warm Hearth. And I have been able to spend 3 or 4 mornings a week for most of my college career at Bob and Emily's, hanging out, answering emails, helping pay bills, eating lots of good food, and they have just welcomed me into their family, and they've been in Blacksburg over 40 years, have collected hundreds of friends, and I was just from them kind of influenced to realize how much personal relationships with people and investing in other people really strengthens not only your influence in a community, but also just your enjoyment of life. So I've learned a lot from them, and really value how they've invested in me. The next one is SERVE. I had the opportunity in SERVE. My freshman year, it didn't exist yet, but my sophomore year was able to serve as a peer leader for the spring 10-16 leadership course. And then my junior year, I was able to serve through an independent study and an internship in education to help vision cast for the future of SERVE and the growth of SERVE and things like that. And so I had a lot of, like Julia mentioned, a lot of experience of reflecting during that time, of really taking what I was learning and putting it into practice and then reflecting on that. And so that has helped me a lot in just understanding my role within the community, my role in the context of the campus and in the context of the New River Valley, and how I can have a positive influence on that. And lastly, in my key events is my thesis experience, which when the architecture major is, as a thesis student, you have an advisor, but they also have underclassmen that they have a class. And so my thesis advisor has a studio of 3rd-year students that work right alongside me. And I found that it's been really an amazing opportunity for leadership to be sitting alongside these students who are 2 years behind me in school and are going through a lot of the same challenges that I went through my 3rd year of understanding the design process. And it has been such an awesome experience to be investing in them this year. And so even though it's not a title on my resume, it's been an amazing leadership experience of learning how to support and encourage them, and then to just build relationships with them. Another example of that, of sort of leadership or growing without having an official role, is social change values here. we used the social change model to reflect on a lot of different experiences within our college career that that helped us to see social change in a different way. So these are each individual experiences that I've had, most of which are not a specific, this was my leadership role, but more I was in this situation and this is what I did and this is what I learned. So those include individual values, group values, and community values. My personal profile is a summary of my leadership philosophy. It includes my resume, and it includes my results for a variety of personality profiles. So I'm sure some of you are familiar with those if you've taken any courses that have had Strengths Quest, things like that. They've helped me to understand my perspective of leadership. And so these tabs were the requirement for my specific ePortfolio assignment that I worked on. And it was really helpful for me to go back through all the papers I've written over the last 5 years, reflect on them again, see what was still relevant, see where I had grown and changed, and just where that left me and going into the future. The other thing that I like about ePortfolio is that I was able to complete all of the requirements, but I also added a tab here that's a collection of the things that didn't fall into any of the other categories that were required for the course. So it's helpful in that you can provide your professor with what they need, but you can also add, whether it's adding a tab or adding an extra page or a link, that you can really provide a more thorough explanation of the going more into detail. So that's been helpful to me, and my hope is to continue to develop my ePortfolio to include a whole new site of my architecture work and how that has kind of paralleled this. So I think too it's a really nice way for your professor to get to see everything all in one place, but also for if you have a potential employer, things like that, that you can send them the link and they can learn a lot more about you in that way, and become familiar with who you are and what you stand for and all that. So thanks so much.